Long before the pyramids rose, before writing, before metal, before human civilization as we know it, there were others. Advanced societies that built impossible structures, mastered forgotten technologies, and then vanished without a single trace. Today, scientists are still unable to explain how these civilizations appeared, how they built what they built, or why they suddenly disappeared. This is the story of the world's most mysterious lost civilizations that should not exist, yet they do. In southeastern Turkey lies Göbekli Tepe, a site that rewrites human history. These stone structures are over 11,000 years old, 6,000 years older than the pyramids, older than writing, farming, even the wheel. According to everything we know, this place shouldn't exist. Göbekli Tepe was built 6,000 years before the pyramids, at a time when humans were still nomadic hunter-gatherers. These groups were small, constantly moving, and had no farming, no cities, and no organized labor. Yet somehow they built massive structures that should have required hundreds of skilled workers. This doesn't match anything we know about human development. The site contains 20-ton T-shaped pillars, carved with smooth edges and detailed animal reliefs. But people at that time only had stone tools, not metal. Creating such precise carvings and perfectly shaped pillars with primitive tools seems almost impossible. It suggests skills and techniques far more advanced than expected for that era. Many of the circles and pillars appear intentionally aligned, possibly with the stars or seasons. This means the builders understood astronomy, geometry, and long-term planning. But no other culture from that time shows any such knowledge. The precision is far beyond what early humans were believed capable of. Despite the massive construction, there are no houses, no villages, no signs of daily life, and no water source nearby. Göbekli Tepe wasn't a settlement. It was a huge ceremonial or religious center built by people who did not even stay there. This breaks the traditional timeline of history, where rituals come after cities, not before. Everything about Göbekli Tepe seems impossible for its time. Advanced engineering, organized labor, astronomical knowledge, and large-scale architecture, built by people who were supposedly primitive. It forces scientists to rethink how civilization began. Who were these people? How did they carve 20-ton pillars with no metal tools? Why did they bury the entire site under tons of soil? Some say it was a temple. Others believe it was a star map. But the truth remains unknown. Across India and Pakistan, archaeologists discovered a civilization ahead of its time, the Indus Valley. At its peak, the Indus Valley civilization had nearly 5 million inhabitants, making it one of the largest ancient populations on Earth. These people lived across hundreds of settlements, showing an enormous, well-organized society far ahead of its time. Their cities, like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, were planned using a perfect grid layout. Streets ran straight, crossed at right angles, and divided the city into blocks, something modern urban planners still do today. This level of planning shows advanced knowledge of engineering and city design. Every house had its own bathroom and drainage system connected to large underground sewers. These sewers were covered, maintained regularly, and directed waste away from the city. Even today, many towns don't have drainage as clean or organized as the Indus Valley cities did 4,500 years ago. Across the entire civilization, spread over 1 million square kilometers, people use bricks of exactly the same size, 1 to 2 to 4 ratio. This implies strict quality control and a shared architectural system, even though the cities were far apart. No other ancient civilization achieved such standardization. Archaeologists haven't found giant palaces, royal tombs, or statues of rulers. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, there are no signs of kings or powerful elites. This suggests the Indus Valley may have been a highly equal, cooperative society, possibly ruled by councils instead of monarchs. They used a script found on seals and pottery, but to this day, no one can read it. There's no Rosetta Stone, no bilingual text, and the inscriptions are very short. This means we still don't know their language, their laws, their beliefs, or even the name they called their own civilization. And then, around 1900 BCE, they disappeared. No war, no bodies, no fires, no explanation. Entire cities abandoned overnight. To this day, not a single word of their language has been read. The greatest city builders in ancient history vanished silently. In the late Bronze Age, entire empires fell like dominoes. A mysterious group known only as the Sea Peoples burned cities, toppled kingdoms, and ended an entire era of civilization. But who were they? Where did they come from? And why did they disappear just as suddenly as they arrived? Some historians believe the Sea Peoples weren't a single tribe, but bands of professional fighters who once served as mercenaries for collapsing empires. When those empires, like the Hittites and Mycenaeans, ran out of money or fell apart, these warriors may have united and turned to raiding coastal cities to survive. Their advanced weapons and coordinated attacks suggest they were trained soldiers, not random pirates. Around 1200 BCE, the Mediterranean world suffered massive droughts, crop failures, and famine. Entire communities may have been forced to abandon their homelands and take to the sea, searching for food, fertile land, and stability. This theory sees the Sea Peoples as desperate migrants driven by climate disaster, not war, who clashed violently with the civilizations they encountered. Many scholars now think the Sea Peoples weren't one culture at all, but a mix of displaced groups from the Aegean, Anatolia, Cyprus, and even parts of Italy. Each group contributed ships, warriors, and refugees, forming a loose coalition of tribes moving across the Mediterranean. This explains why their weapons, pottery, and burial styles are so diverse. They were not a single people, but a storm of many cultures moving together. No one knows their origin, no homeland, no written records, just destruction and disappearance. Deep within the jungles of Mexico lie colossal stone heads, some weighing 20 tons, carved by a civilization older than the Maya and Aztecs. The Olmecs left behind symbols carved on stones and monuments, but no one has fully decoded them. We don't know whether these symbols were a full language or just ritual markings. Because there's no bilingual text, like a Rosetta Stone, their script remains an unsolved code, keeping their history and beliefs hidden. Many ancient civilizations carved kings, queens, and dynasties into their monuments. But the Olmecs didn't. We have colossal heads that clearly represent real rulers, yet we have no names, no stories, no records of who these people were. They were powerful enough to command huge labor forces, but their entire leadership system remains a blank chapter in history. Some Olmec monuments, especially the massive stone heads, were carved from basalt transported from mountains over 60 to 80 kilometers away. But the Olmecs had no wheels, no beasts of burden, and no metal tools. How they moved 20 to 40-ton stones across jungle terrain is a major puzzle. Theories include log rollers, rafts, or coordinated human labor, but nothing is proven. Olmec art, colossal heads, baby-faced figurines, jaguar human hybrids, doesn't resemble the artwork of earlier or neighboring cultures. It appears suddenly, fully developed, as if it came from nowhere. This unique advanced style has led some archaeologists to call the Olmecs the mother culture of Mesoamerica, while others argue they were an isolated, mysterious society with influences still unknown. To this day, scientists can't explain how these massive heads were created, moved, or even why they were carved. And then around 400 BCE, the Olmecs vanished. No trace, no sign of collapse, just gone. In 1986, construction workers in China stumbled upon something impossible. A forgotten civilization with art so advanced and so different, it looked extraterrestrial. Archaeologists discovered enormous bronze masks with oversized, bulging eyes, unlike anything in ancient China. These eyes stretch outward as if meant to see beyond the human world, leading some experts to think they represented gods, shamans, or supernatural beings. No other Chinese culture of the time made anything similar, making the masks one of the most puzzling artifacts ever found. The Sanxingdui people created huge bronze statues using techniques far more advanced than anything seen in China 3,000 years ago. Some statues are so tall and complex that even modern metallurgists struggle to explain how they cast them in a single piece. Their bronze working skills appear suddenly, with no earlier or simpler versions. Another major mystery. Despite their scale and sophistication, the Sanxingdui are never mentioned in ancient Chinese records. It's as if an entire advanced culture rose and vanished without leaving a single written memory behind. Whether they were destroyed by natural disaster, migrated, or were absorbed into other cultures remains unknown. Unlike the Shang or Zhou dynasties, Sanxingdui's art, religion, architecture, even their facial features on statues, look completely unrelated to any known Chinese civilization. Their style doesn't evolve into later dynasties either, suggesting they may have been an isolated culture, or perhaps a lost branch of an early society that historians still don't understand. Sanxingdui appears suddenly and disappears suddenly, leaving behind art so strange that scientists still cannot explain its purpose. Göbekli Tepe, Indus Valley, Sea Peoples, Olmecs, Sanxingdui, 5 civilizations separated by thousands of miles, yet sharing one thing: their stories remain unfinished. Perhaps the greatest mysteries of our past are not the things we've discovered, but the civilizations we've forgotten.